You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, but it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialist. It is Friday night. Friday night is our dedication to Open Heart, Closed Case. It is the hardest night to watch the Exceptional Conservative Show because we talk about unresolved homicides, missing persons, child trafficking, and sexual abuse. And as well teen suicides. We talk about all those particular things. It's a really real program. And joining me every Friday night that we're on the air is none other than the host of Shades of Humanity, Howie Comen, our private investigator extraordinaire, and great commentator, great friend, to talk with us about not only all those particular things, but so much more. God bless you, sir. It is so good to have you on the air tonight. No, turn it the other way. Turn it the other way. So we can see. There we go. Beautiful face. There you go. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
All right. Doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Listen, I want to get your thoughts on the first segment. You've been in the chat room. You were watching Sabine Durden.
You show your employees how much you care about them with a
we're going to close that. There we go. All right. Got to ask you your thoughts on that first segment.
Unbelievable. You knowing your situation, having lived with that for a while with you and your wife and the rest of our listeners, and then watching her situation, you just get angrier and angrier. This country has no heart. It has no soul. And that first segment proves that. The way this whole thing was handled over the past 7 years, 6, 7 years, from the murder itself to what transpired in the court, justice, it's injustice. It's a situation where then she goes to Congress. She goes to the elected officials. The elected official in her state, they don't even want to see her. I mean, these Democrats are a joke.
Yeah.
New York and California, that's not part of the United States. It's not the United States you and I know. That's for sure. Exactly. I mean, how can you have somebody give birth then kill the child? Right there. Yeah. Makes no sense. It goes against the grain across the board. And this woman, can you imagine? I know you can somewhat, but can you imagine paying your dues to get in this country and then having the injustice system turn around and forget about you and do everything for this illegal alien, whatever you want to call him, person that shouldn't be here after she paid her dues to be here. You know, I'm so thankful that you and I hooked up.
Yeah.
And I have the opportunity, if nothing else, to vent my frustrations. Because I've been dealing with this kind of crap for 45 years.
Exactly. And every time you go on the air or you watch television, the news hours or whatever, they always present the DACA kid who's done well, graduating at the top of their high school class, and somehow there's no focus on MS-13. There's no focus on individuals who have been deported so many times and come back into the country. And tonight our focus was on Miss Durden, but there have been children who have been raped and mutilated and abused by illegal migrants. And it's not a racial thing. Is it racial for us to pinpoint this out?
No, it's you got to cut out the black, white, red, green, rainbow delineation. We're just different shades of humanity. Yes. That's why you and I named this show. We're all humans. We're all parts of humanity. Maybe we're different shades. But that's it. People have to recognize that, and we have to go forward and make this place a better place, not going downhill. We're on a downhill slide here. It's like, frankly, from what I've seen, the earth is not round, it's square. And New York, California have slipped off the side. I mean, seriously. Exactly. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. The only way, and I was angry when I went on here. I've been angry for about a week. I wrote letters to Limbaugh, to Hannity. I sent copies of my book that I wrote about the investigations and the corruption. And I've asked them that we need to start to raise funds to put people in office that have lost sons and daughters. We have Gold Star families to get these people to hell here. We don't need Pelosi. We don't need Schumer. I mean, these Democrats, you know, they're socialists.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to live in Venezuela.
Exactly.
You know, but that's what we need to do. And do you know, and Chris Ruddy was with him when he was with the New York Post. I went all the way to Arkansas on my own dime with him to help cover the story and make sure nobody hit him off the back of the head. I wrote him about this idea. When we got to Arkansas, he didn't have enough credit to rent a car. I had to rent the car so that we could do the investigation. And I haven't heard back from him about raising funds. These people like Sabrina and all the rest of them that have lost family members to illegal aliens in war. I'm named after a Yale graduate, my father's brother, that was in the Second World War. You know, these are the people that are running for office. Those that have paid the price. Pelosi didn't pay the price. Yeah. She sucked all the money, and so did Schumer from us, as well as our hopes and develop the fears. I'm very angry. You better talk for a few minutes before I say something we both regret.
I feel your utter frustration, especially on a night where the president went into the Rose Garden to tell the world that the Democrats, socialists, Marxists, progressives have defied all logic and have basically said the only way that we can stay in office is that we have a family of victims. And it's worked for us for over 200 years, and we're not moving from that. We don't want to build a wall. We don't want to build a fence. We don't want to repair the fences that are broken. And so what if Sabine, Durden, and the rest of the angel moms lost someone? Come on. It's racist for us to close the borders and not allow individuals with diseases, the inability to take care of themselves, the lack of skill sets to advance the culture. It would be racist for us not to allow them in. Your retort to that?
It's a situation where we have rules and regulations. I can't go out and kill somebody. There's laws against it. People just can't come into the country unless they're vetted. I mean, what's wrong with these Democrats? Schumer's in New York. You know, these people need to go into these areas. Pelosi needs to go out where all of these needles and feces are all over the street and stuff, the way they've got these sanctuary cities set up. Exactly. I mean, you know, we have rules and regulations. The president said it. We need more people. Our economy is growing tremendously. We have very low unemployment. The advertisements are, you need us to help you find people on iHeartRadio, I heard, because we're all so, everybody's employed. We need these people from other countries to come in to work with us. We don't have enough jobs. We have too many jobs and not enough people, qualified people to fill it. But you got to have roles. I mean, that's why China built their wall. I'm very close with a former Shin Bet member from Israel. He and I flew to Nigeria. We met with General Joshua Daganyaro, and I brought a team over there to develop the protection for 25,000 miles, whatever it was, 25 kilometers of pipeline. You know, we developed a whole program with drones and helicopters. We had compounds set up across the whole area of Nigeria that we were going to build, and that we were getting ready to go when our people uncovered a big coup in Nigeria, and we had to hightail it out of that country. Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is you have to have borders. They have to be enforced. You've got all this trafficking, child trafficking, women trafficking. The president hit the nail on that. What the hell is wrong with Pelosi and Schumer and Nadler? Nadler's from New York. I mean, are these people really morons? Yeah, apparently so. And we need to get them out of there.
Exactly. And they do not mind having a host of Sabine Durdens as long as the border remains open. I want to talk with you tonight about some unsolved murders. And I know that it is a terrible thing to have to deal with unresolved homicides. There are over close to 300,000 since the 1960s of unresolved homicides in the United States of America. And the likelihood of them actually getting those cases closed is very slim, because there are some cities in America that do extremely well in terms of closing cases out. And then there are others, like Philadelphia, where the rate of closure is something like 60%. Your thoughts regarding Philly police? 60% of murders investigated in 2018 remain unsolved. Actually, their closing rate is 40%. Forgive me, not 60.
Right. The problem that you've got in law enforcement is they've been too racially, although I don't like to use the term because we're the same race. But basically, there's too much darker shades of humanity have been taken advantage of by the system and share over the years, and they themselves have been victims of racial profiling. Two very upstanding citizens. And, you know, with this type of thing, you have this distrust of police. And, you know, with these drug laws, especially now, where a lot of these marijuana is now legal in what, 30 states?
Yeah.
You've got a lot of these people still in prison. Now, the president, I believe, is trying to alleviate some of those problems, but there's too much distrust for police. Sometimes the police go, you know, off the deep end, and you've got too many uses of force that should never have been. I mean, to shoot somebody, that should be the very last resort.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the excuses that I've seen, they just add fuel to the fire of the distrust.
Yeah,
and you know, with these gangs, they don't mess around.
Exactly.
That's been the problem with organized crime. People don't want to, you know, turn state's evidence.
Exactly.
And you're in a situation where a lot of your communities are not going to help the police because it's Trump. You know, you have that situation. Was it in Baltimore or D.C. where that member of the court system was telling people, about stuff involving their cases? I think it
Yes.
might have been Baltimore,
DC.
D.C. He
Yeah.
talked about that before. So I mean, something like that hits the news, and then really everything is distorted. I used to communicate with Walter Cronkite. There were only 3 anchors. They're gone. And if it bleeds, it leads.
Leads.
Nobody cares, that the Democrats wouldn't see the young lady that lost her son, Dom's mom. Nobody cares. What they do care about is Trump is a Russian spy. That's the news. I mean, give me a break.
Exactly.
The guy's a billionaire. He doesn't need the money.
Exactly. Now, I want to talk with you very quickly because we're going to run out of time, and there were some cases that we wanted to take a look at.
After this time, I'm trying to think when this thing was. It was in Lauderdale. With so much time and not having, if it's not solved within the first 48 hours or so, if they can't get good leads, everything dies. And it's very difficult to get eviction. Anyhow, I mean, look at the situation with Dom's mom's case.
Yeah.
It's a situation where the guy got 35 days.
Yeah.
And he used his car to kill the guy. That's homicide. And 35 days in prison. But in terms of this case in Florida, it's very, very difficult. There apparently were some suspects panned out. I talked to sheriff and a former police chief into being part of it and reopening the case after 30 years. But, going back after all that time is almost impossible. And you're looking, all they can, they got their hands tied too. I was very close with our African-American Jewish police chief here, Chief Greenberg. And I mean, he was totally upset about the way the judicial system protect criminal. And that's the problem that law enforcement has. Exactly. They have to have the I's dotted, the T's crossed before they do anything. In the judicial system, the scales of justice is pointed towards the bad guys. Period.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, Howie Comen tonight, our great private detective extraordinaire. You can find him at comendetective.com. And in that particular case out of North Lauderdale, the only thing they got going is a sketch. That's not a lot of hope, is it? Right. Not a lot of hope. Howie Comen, we love you, man. We will see you again next week.
Love you too, Kenny, and Miss Biggs and the rest of the gang, Mary. See you next week, I hope.
See you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, Howie Comen, just an extremely tremendous man who has done cases around the world. We recommend highly, ladies and gentlemen, that if you have a case, and it doesn't matter how large or how small, that you get in contact with Howie Comen. You can find him at comendetectives.com. We will be right back with more of the best in Urban Conservative Talk right after these messages.